Welcome to our Wednesday meditation service. It's an honor to guide people into a meditation. It's such a wonderful place to go every single day, even if you can do 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or 45 minutes. You come out, you're becoming a light person, a person that's more connected to your mission in life. And it's worth every second that you give to it to close out all the sounds of the earth and the people and the desires and all the wants of life and just become one with the silence. So we always would go to once we got into the work, and the work is getting into meditation and praying. And we'd go to an ARE center which we located, which was put together, created by Edgar Casey throughout the country. And this was in New York City. And we'd sit with some of the elders, most beautiful human beings, as we walked up the stairs, came into this room, and they invited us to the meditation. And as we came, we were in our 20s. All the young people started coming up those stairs. It was such a surge to get into meditation and praying. So this is a call and response. Speak with the words of God. Love with the heart of God. Speak with the words of God. Sing with the voice of God. Live in heaven, here and now. Live in heaven, here and now. Heaven, heaven. Dance with the soul of God. Walk with the grace of God. Breathe the air of God. Think with the mind of God. Live in heaven, here and now. Live in heaven, here and now. Heaven, heaven. Hear the words of God. Never ever fear. God. Merge with the mind of God. Feel the love of God. Live in heaven, here and now. Live in heaven, here and now. heaven, heaven, speak with the mouth of God. Love with the heart of God. Work with the hands of God. Sing with the voice of God. Live in heaven, here and now. Live in heaven, here and now. Heaven, 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 heaven. Oh.
Good evening, everyone. In Unity, we're obliged to speak about healing because the founders of Unity both experienced a spiritual healing. And so that is one of the things we speak about often. But when we speak about healing, we are understanding that it requires a transformation in consciousness. Whenever we speak about healing, we're talking about healing the mind so that it opens to the universal awareness. That is really the path to spiritual healing. In fact, it is the path to all healing. Opening one's mind to the universal consciousness. And that is the path that we take in Unity to finally enter into the enlightened state of consciousness, which in the Christian vernacular is referred to as heaven. So we should be very aware that most of what is happening in our lives is there by virtue of the fact we are being trained to become enlightened beings. We were definitely made in the image and likeness of God, but we have to arrive in that consciousness where we become capable of expressing that enlightened awareness. So we'll begin with this particular quote from A Course in Miracles, which, by the way, is all about healing. This is from the Course in Miracles text, page 230, paragraph 2. In the new edition, which is what most of you have, it's on page 254. Awakening unto Christ is following the laws of love of your free will, and out of quiet recognition of the truth in them. The attraction of light must draw you willingly, and willingness is signified by giving. Those who accept love of you become your willing witnesses to the love you gave them, and it is they who hold it out to you. To sleep, you are alone. In sleep, you are alone, and your awareness is narrowed to yourself. And that is why the nightmares come. You dream of isolation because your mind is closed. I'll read that again, especially if you're not used to the language in A Course in Miracles. It takes a little bit to catch on to the point it's ever making. Awakening unto Christ is following the laws of love of your free will, and out of quiet recognition of the truth in them. The attraction of light must draw you willingly, and willingness is signified by giving. Those who accept love of you become your willing witnesses to the love you gave them, and it is they who hold it out to you. In sleep, you are alone, and your awareness is narrowed to yourself. And that is why the nightmares come. You dream of isolation because your mind is closed. The word sleep in this particular passage is speaking about that condition where we are not awake on the spiritual level. The word sleep or unconscious or even dead is used by masters down through the ages to indicate those people who are still living strictly from the physical awareness of the world. And they have not yet entered into this higher, more refined consciousness that alleviates the concern, the fear, the conflict, and the sorrow that the people in the world are forever struggling against, ever struggling to try to make the world somehow or other fit their particular expectations and demands. But in the spiritual truth, when we enter spiritual truth, we are transcending the thinking of the world. And so when it speaks about following the laws of love, that is not what we were born, raised, and educated to do in the world. In the world, we were born to honor an illusionary definition of self, which is defined as my separate body personality. so that I must somehow or other educate my body personality or move it in such a way as to make it popular or make it financially wealthy, in some ways to try to make my personal idea of self, this body idea of self, capable of manipulating conditions and circumstances to get my personal expectations met. That is the thinking of the world. We were born into it. We were all raised in it. We were all educated in it. But if you want life, true life, and you want the abundant life promised by the masters down through the ages, then it is necessary to step higher in your level of awareness, to come into the universal consciousness, which is being shared by the masters down through the ages. So, as we look upon this, we can meditate and discover how far from this truth we actually are. It's not going to be helpful to know how far from the truth you are, but it is helpful to know that this is not something that you have made a priority yet, to operate out of the laws of love with your free will. You must recognize if your life is not working, this is where you have to begin to enter into a higher level of awareness. If your life is not working in the thinking of the world, you have, countless numbers of self-help books. You have countless people doing counseling for people who are trying to find how to live more effectively and without so much fear, concern, and conflict in their lives. And so you have in the world all these attempts, and quite often you see on these covers of the book about your power, how to regain your power or restore your power. And yet, because of our conditioned illusionary idea of self, we keep thinking that has to do with my own ego-centered awareness. I have to become either smarter, braver, bolder, in order for me to get on in the world and get it to do the things I want it to do so that my life works and I have peace of mind. That is what is going on in the unenlightened, illusion-driven world. For everyone who has not yet realized, it is incumbent upon each of us to recognize the flaw in the thinking of the world. The flaw in the thinking of the world has this illusionary concept of separation. As long as there is the concept of separation, that there's me and all that I have and all of my self-interests, and then there's all of them and their self-interests, and so we're all involved in trying to get our expectations met, and you wonder why there's conflict. You wonder why people can't have a relationship for any length of time that finally doesn't break up between them, because the whole concept that they're carrying with them is the illusionary definition of self. Self is me, my personality, my life, those things I want, need, must get in order to be happy and free. Well, perhaps you're at that place now where you recognize what the truth is that makes us free. The Master of Life said, you will know the truth, and knowing the truth, then you will be free. The truth begins with the realization that I am not a separate body-mind in a world of separate others. That's physically not true. If you read the teachings of the masters, you read at the heart of every major religion, it speaks about us being interconnected with one another on this higher level of awareness. We are interconnected. And so, if we begin to operate from that realization, then you know what it means to be operating in the laws of love. And that others then will bring love to you. So I think I'm going to step way beyond what someone who would be new here would actually wonder, how can that be? Many of you are in the work and understand the work and are on the path seriously, and so you know what I'm speaking about is so in your experience. But new people don't. They can't fathom that if one is following the laws of love, that others will respond in kind. That's not the way the world trained us to think. Nobody recognizes that because they're all separate. I'm separate. Our minds are all separate. It's not true. All minds on a very refined level are interconnected, all touching on the divine light of awareness. So if someone takes it upon himself or herself to do spiritual practices in which he or she is going through his or her life each day, attempting to be awake enough to only bestow forgiveness, only bestow peace, only bestow consideration. Never react. No, 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 no. No, not reacting, saying they don't deserve that, or they should get, punished for what they're doing, or somebody has to teach them that they're wrong. No, please, trust me. Nobody can get away with that and find life abundant as promised by the masters. It means we have taken to task our limited thinking, which was given to us, conditioned in us from our birth in this world, where it honors the illusion of separation. And all of the media is forever trying to propagate and create the idea that the illusion of separation can really work out. It can never work out. It is an illusion that you are separate from your brothers and sisters who you look upon. Even those who would hold resentment or who would hold depression, who would hold fear and bring up elements and say things that would be hurtful, even those are actually, listen to it. Do you want to take this home? Listen to it. Even those who are holding negative ideas about themselves and life, and who may actually be saying things that are hurtful, even they are doing that out of a call for love. So if you were well along in your spiritual practice and you could look past those attitudes of negative awareness, you could honestly bestow forgiveness. Oh, you wouldn't have to necessarily get involved with them. You wouldn't have to necessarily take them and say, listen, you're carrying on in a limited way. No, 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 you don't have to do that. You simply have to, within yourself, know that they are all part of this divine unfolding humanity. That's right, the divine unfolding humanity in which anyone can take to task his awareness and rise in consciousness where he or she, imagine this, you step out into the world every day and you have peace. And you're able to sustain peace of mind. And nothing taking place in the illusion-driven world has any effect anymore to cast you down, make you fearful, afraid, angry, resentful, vengeful, hateful. It can't happen anymore because you are following the laws of love willingly. You're practicing spiritual mindfulness. That's it. There's no other religion, by the way. The rest of the stuff is pomp and circumstances, trying to hold people separate and apart from God, because that happens to be what illusion-driven people do. They have a different agenda still. They're not there to try to heal conditions and circumstances in which they find themselves. They are there to prosper on a material, physical level, and they don't mind manipulating conditions and people to make that happen. That's the world we are talking about, transcending the illusions of the world. And peace is the measure of that. Let's take and consider this next ideal shared by A Course in Miracles. Knowledge is not the motivation. Oh, this is on A Course in Miracles text, page 138 in the new edition, which most of you have. If you have the old edition, the old book, the old text, it's on page 128. Knowledge is not the motivation for learning this course. Peace is. This is the prerequisite for knowledge, only because those who are in conflict are not peaceful. And peace is the condition of knowledge, because it is the condition of the kingdom. Knowledge can be restored only when you meet its conditions. Knowledge is not the motivation for learning this course. Peace is. This is the prerequisite for knowledge, only because those who are in conflict are not peaceful. And peace is the condition of knowledge, because it is the condition of the kingdom. Knowledge can be restored only when you meet its conditions. So, this particular quote from A Course in Miracles is relating to us our daily yoga. In other words, each day we go about our business. We are karma yogis. That is, we do not renounce the world. That is, we don't step into a cave. We don't even check out of the world into a monastery or a convent. We don't check out of life and go into an ashram with some guru. And then in doing that, we're seeking peace. And so let me tell you why that's not going to work as you thought it would. There's no, you can gain something from entering into an ashram for a while, listening to somebody that has some insight into the spiritual truths, but it's not going to be fulfilling. It's not going to be the complete transformation that you are seeking. I'll explain why. Unity used to have what we labeled the Snow Mountain Retreat up in Snowmass. In this beautiful wooded area, there's a camp up there, and we would have every year our region, not the entire USA, but just the region in the Southwest, Unity Ministries would have people come up to this camp for a week. And there were certain elements that would take place while they were there. We would have spiritual talks being given by different Unity teachers and ministers. We had discussion groups around particular ideas and ideals. We had meditation groups. We had walks in yoga in nature and try to understand our relationship to everything that is alive. It was a beautiful retreat. It's beautifully set up to help us. And the beautiful part about it was you got 3 square meals a day at this retreat, and you never had to do the dishes. You never had to clean up. No, I'm serious. You just came, you ate, you left, and left your dishes and whatever else behind, and you went about this journey of seeking spiritual understanding. And it's a good thing to do. There's nothing wrong with that. It's nice to get away for a while where you can really just embrace spiritual principles of truth. And that's what was going on up in Snow Mass, the Snow Mountain Retreat. I spent a couple of years going to the Snow Mountain Retreat. Our people here who wanted to signed up for it. It wasn't inexpensive. I forget what it cost, but somewhere in the neighborhood of $500 to spend the week up there. But here's what I discovered. You have to remember, this is at a time when there was no cell phones, no laptops. The technology hadn't reached us at that point in time. But people would get up early in the morning, and instead of going to the outside meditation or walk or the special group session, they would go into the area just outside the cafeteria, and they would buy a newspaper out of the machine. And there would always be 7 or 8, sometimes 10 people sitting there reading the newspaper. It was incumbent upon me to get up early every morning and empty that machine. So there were no newspapers. I know what I did to those few people that needed to have that newspaper. They had moments of really feeling depressed. Somebody had cheated them out of what they really wanted on this retreat. But there was so much more to the retreat, and part of it, every day there was this group session where 8 people would sit around, and each person took a turn being in the middle. This is after they'd been around 2 or 3 days, and the people in the group would tell this person in the middle all the good that they see in that person and how they appear as good, and that deep inside they're really good, and anything they could say that would be positive and good. That's all they would do. And people felt lifted by that. Honestly speaking, I find that to be contrived, at least, okay? I don't want to be overly negative about it. It had some good effects for people. But here's the problem with that. At the end of the retreat, toward those last couple of days, they would end those sessions with, all is good. All is good. So 7 days up there, listening to spiritual talks, doing meditation, having discussions, doing everything you wanted to do, walk in the woods, have all this beautiful relationships with people you met who are all, listen to it, all listen. Everybody at a retreat is on their best behavior. And I'm going to create a retreat that doesn't have that. You're not allowed to be on your best behavior. But I haven't been able to create it yet. I don't have the time. But everybody's on their best behavior, and then you leave after the week with the affirmation, all is good. And I guess for a lot of it, it was good. But then people would come back, and I know this as a fact, and after they're back in life and going to work and having to clean up after themselves and do their own dishes and having to go to work on the job and be around people that didn't spend a week in La La Land, and they would become so totally, set down and upset. They couldn't handle the whole idea that people are just inconsiderate. I mean, I'm trying to be cool and nice, but, and so we'll go on like that, and you'd get these complaints and everything. Because, now here it is, here's the bottom line. What do you think the Master meant by to love those who love you back is easy? But to be able to love those and pray for those who would even persecute you is not easy. But I say this to you. This is the path of mastery. We ultimately relieve our consciousness of all grievances. We, through the practice of spiritual truth and the practice of living love and bestowing love, forgiveness, and peace, regardless of the circumstances, ultimately we are purifying the mind of its natural intention to hold grievances. We were born, raised, and educated to hold grievances, to be smarter than, bigger than, richer than the next guy, and it doesn't matter. Anybody gets in your way, push them out of the way. All of that is the sickness of the world that the masters have transcended. And they would like to bring you along so that you could see what it's like to live a life without grievances. You can do it. But you have to take to task your own awareness to do it. You see, a grievance, every grievance, sets us apart from the reality of oneness. As you're holding a grievance, that is going out like a big rock that just was dropped in the water, and all of those waves going out to the shore. Your grievance in your mind is affecting everyone and everything around you, even the plants, even the wood in your apartment, the chairs are being affected by your awareness. I know that's hard to believe, but it happens to be the truth that comes down through the ages, that exists at the heart of every religion, and happens to be the reality understood and passed on by the masters of life. So, to the degree that you are capable of maintaining peace of mind, regardless of circumstances, regardless of what people or other people might be doing, saying, or thinking, you maintain peace. Your goal is to be one with the moment and be appropriate in the moment as a master would be appropriate in that moment. And by so doing, you ultimately will have experiences where you didn't necessarily say a lot of words, you didn't send postcards or love letters to these different people, you didn't do anything specifically that would show that somehow or other you're holding forgiveness and love in regards to them. You didn't do anything overt, because the idea of separation, but ultimately you discover, what did you discover? Listen to it. What did the masters discover when they started to do this on faith? What did they discover? They discovered that all minds are in communication. So the love, the forgiveness, the peace, the joy you bestow in your own consciousness, suddenly you're seeing it come back to you in all of the different people you're meeting on the path of life. If I'm sitting here lying to you, then I should be struck by lightning. Because what I'm saying to you does not come out of a book I just read back behind the curtains. What I'm saying to you is what I have put into practice and seen occur. So we're going to conclude this. I don't know if we need Eckhart Tolle. I've already said he is a master of life. Let me sum this up this way. Let me sum it up this way. The statement, all is good, is a lie. Because a person saying it quite often hasn't transcended the thinking of the world. So he's or she's saying it, all is good, but they're complaining, saying, I don't know what's happened. I mean, I felt okay at the retreat, but now I am upset. I've got a lot of arguments I've had, and that's what they're saying. All right, but what if you realized you don't know better? That you are merely judging by appearances, which the masters said not to do, because only God knows better. Is it possible that all really is good? But we are being raised sometimes through tribulation. We are being raised to recognize it, and then to experience that mystical state of joy, ongoing peace. And that is the key to the kingdom or the consciousness of God. We're going to take a few moments for meditation together. Begin by taking a couple of deep breaths. As you release the breath, release any cares, concerns that you may be harboring. Just breathing, remembering to breathe whenever you're meeting a challenge, a confrontation of some kind. Remembering just to breathe for a while. And allowing the breath to bring you into that more refined level of forgiveness, release, allowing, just breathing, peace. You can begin to meditate by using a mantra, a thought that keys the mind on the universal reality. So I'll share one with you tonight. You can gently hold this in your mind. Other thoughts may come and go. You may allow thoughts to arrive and let them just pass on through. Don't try to fight with any thoughts that come in. just let this moment be what it is. Limited thoughts can come. Gently return your mind to this particular ideal. God is love, ever guiding me to forgive, let go, and share peace. God is love, ever guiding me to forgive, let go, and share peace. God is love, ever guiding me to forgive, let go, and share peace. in this refined level of awareness, we will offer the names of those that have been submitted to our prayer list. As Norma calls the name, simply sustain this awareness of peace, allowing the moment to be perfect as expressed by the universe. Just peace. Just peace.
Ricky and Jess, Shad, Michaela, Jay and Shelley, Medicine, John Albert, Renee Albert, Katie and son Grant, Diana L., Orlando and Monica, Planet Earth and all life on it, Sajel, Herbisa Extended, Nikki, Elizabeth Ann in Irving, Texas, Banny Marie Brett, and Luca and Jill, Turi, Harvey and Brandon, Don Norris, John Stovall, Cornova, Tori, Jennifer, Kim M. Peace, Joyce, Shira Meritz, Joyce Meritz, Jan and Joe, Ashley, Alan G., Martina Fosterus, Susa, Maddie, Peter, Jamie, Donna, Andrea and family, Boulder, Denver, Colorado Springs, Monata Springs, Orion and Jess, Tom and Val, Claudia and family, Nick, Sal, Celeste, Ruth, Lisa, Michelle, Nicole, Catherine, Trudy, and Michael, friends and family, women, migrants, refugees, LGBTQ, communities, minorities, poor in spirit, poor in finances, Diane Mussel Bolter, M.I., Randy Thies, John Marcotte, Trevor Marcotte, Nate Marcotte, Kristen Enison, Marion and Teven Marcotte, Christopher Paul, Marguerite and Michael, Jennifer, Matiki, Amir and Tony, Kyle W., Grace L., Garrett V., Katie L., Jean Parrott, Sherry Cole, Sharon Pennant, Peter McCerney, Indigenous people, Jimmy Mack, J. Mack, Earl Benson, Jessica L., Mikhail Newcomb, Ami Benson, Lorraine Kirk, Max Shivas, Steve F., Medissa W., Marnie, Marshad B.S., MRN, and JML. And you can call out a name at this time if you would like to do so.
D. Matthew and family, S. Casey and family, S. Daniel and family, Sandy Spahn, Dan Spahn, Laura.
We see this healing light surrounding the prayer box and all the people whose names have been submitted throughout the month. We see them healed, physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Let us take a moment now to enter into the refined awareness of the new heaven in earth. As we see this consciousness of oneness, healing love and peace rising in the awareness of everyone sharing the Boulder community with us. And this divine consciousness rising in the awareness of everyone sharing the state of Colorado with us. And this expanding throughout to everyone sharing these United States of America with us. And this divine consciousness flowing through everyone, in every nation, in every religion, in every group, bringing forth that healing awareness, that harmony between all human beings and creatures in the earth, establishing the pristine joy and love of intercommunication and creativity in the lives of human beings. As we pray, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And God is love. To this we say, Amen.
We have an offering basket that's in the lobby, just in front of the doors as you leave. And you can give whatever you want for this service and to help support this church to be operating as it is right now. We appreciate the time that you have spent praying for others, and we pray that you help support this ministry.
You can also tithe on your cell phone. Go to unityofboulder.com, and there'll be a QR code on that will come up. Also, we have that QR code in the lobby. If you want to use your cell phone to scan it, gives you the opportunity to tithe to Unity of Boulder.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for serving in this way. This is the greatest gift you can give, is to pray for others.
So we have...
Go on. You want to say something?
No, go ahead and play. It'd be nice. We have tea and cookies for those of you, if you'd like to stay and chat through these doors to your left into the bookstore. To everyone, have a beautiful evening.
Thank you for coming.